Are you scared for your life? It's unfortunate that you were shot at. I'm glad that you were okay from that. Do you think that that was a situation where you were targeted? If so, are you scared for your life?
No, I'm not scared for my life. It was a scary situation. I'm not pointing no fingers. I'm just asking everybody, all the judges or anybody who's working on the case, to do what's right and do their job the correct way, even if you overlook something or didn't see something. Everybody makes mistakes, as I said before, but it's time to actually do your job and look at everything and get it correct.
A federal judge ordered Jay-Z to take a paternity test. Yeah, ordered. Not even 2 days later, the car of the guy claiming to be his son got lit up with bullets. That ain't no random act, and that was a message, loud and clear: keep your mouth shut or else. This isn't just some street beef. It's a full-blown legal fight, a media blackout, and a billion-dollar empire doing everything it can to silence one man before his truth brings the whole empire crashing down.
It's a scary situation, but it's just, unfortunately, I'm from North Philadelphia. I'm not saying I got nothing. I saw a gunshot, heard gunshots, and saw crazy shit before. So, but it definitely was a scary situation because I never been through it. I barely come outside and I stay to myself. So it's like,
Back in 1992, word is Jay-Z allegedly got involved with a 16-year-old girl named Wanda Satterthwaite, but the streets knew her as Precious. It was a quick thing, nothing serious, but not as safe as they thought. She later claimed the condom broke and boom, she got pregnant. From that moment on, her world flipped upside down. Jay-Z, nowhere to be found. She couldn't call him, couldn't DM him. This was way before all that. No phones, no social media, and definitely no glam squad following him around. She was on her own, and the silence was deafening. She never laid eyes on Jay-Z again. And get this, Wanda was just 16 when she gave birth. She was literally unconscious in a hospital bed when her boyfriend at the time, Robert Graves, signed the birth certificate. According to people close to Wanda, Robert knew that baby wasn't his, but he still signed off. Why? To get extra government help like food stamps. That decision set off a chain of lies that would follow Rymir for the rest of his life. And here's where things start getting heavy. When Rymir turned 8, Wanda finally sat him down. What she said next changed everything. Jay-Z is your father. Boom, just like that. She never once changed her story. Not for years, not ever. She begged Jay-Z to take a paternity test, even told him they could do it low-key. No court, no press, just the truth. But he stayed silent. Still, Wanda kept pushing. She fought like hell, ran into legal dead ends, got ignored by lawyers, even had judges tell her she was wasting their time. But when she felt her health slipping, she made a final move. Wanda signed a sworn affidavit putting it all on the record: Jay-Z is Rymir's father. In 2019, Wanda died from heart failure. And before she passed, she looked Rymir in the eyes and told him, keep fighting. One way or another, the truth will come out. Wanda wasn't chasing fame. She wasn't out here looking for attention or headlines. She just wanted her son to know the truth about where he came from. But Jay-Z, he stayed silent. Now Rymir's a grown man and he's not backing down. In 2014, he picked up the fight his mother started and filed a civil paternity suit against Jay-Z. This time, he had backup. His godmother and legal guardian, Lily Coley, who had been holding it down ever since Wanda's health began falling apart. And that's when the shadows moved in. Things got shady, real shady. Jay-Z didn't respond like your average person would. No statement, no test, no denial. Instead, his legal team allegedly cooked up a whole maze of tactics, stalling, dodging, and throwing out smoke screens just to avoid one thing: a simple cheek swab. That's it, just a swab in the mouth. But instead of doing that, his lawyers allegedly chose to play games with the system. Here's what went down. Rymir and Lily filed the lawsuit in New Jersey. Why? Because that's where Jay-Z supposedly had his fling with Wanda. Not only that, but folks say he even owned property there. That was the angle. Prove Jay had ties to Jersey so the court could force a DNA test. Sounds solid, right? But Jay-Z's team came back swinging with a legal curveball nobody saw coming. Jay-Z's lawyers came back with a slick move. They claimed he didn't live in New Jersey, so the court had no power over him. But here's the kicker. There's real proof he did have ties to Jersey. Property records, tax filings, even documents from his own business say otherwise. The receipts are out there. Still, his legal team allegedly used a New York address just to sidestep the whole case. And guess what? That one technicality got the whole lawsuit thrown out, but the shady stuff didn't stop there. According to Lily, things took a dark turn when Wanda was in the hospital, sedated and weak after coming out of a coma. While she was still recovering, barely even aware of what was happening, Jay-Z's legal team allegedly pulled up with paperwork. She signed it, but had no clue what she was agreeing to. That one signature gave his lawyers a major advantage, and just like that, the case got tossed again. But here's where it really gets wild. Lily says even Ramir's own legal team might have been playing dirty. She claims some of those lawyers were secretly working with Jay-Z's side. We're talking about attorneys who allegedly switched sides, messed up filings, and created errors that were so sloppy, it almost seemed like it was all on purpose. What kind of legal team does that to the person they're supposed to protect? So not only was the other side allegedly playing dirty, Ramir's own team might have been helping them pull it off, and the court didn't blink. They tossed the case again. But the deeper Rymir and Lily dug, the more sealed files they ran into. Locked doors everywhere. And for what? Just to avoid a mouth swab? Let's keep it real. This ain't just about a DNA test. If Jay-Z's not the father, why go through all this chaos? Why twist the law, confuse the court, and dodge every legal request? It's not just about proving fatherhood, it's about what that DNA could reveal. Because if Jay-Z is the father, it exposes something way deeper. We're talking about a possible relationship with a 16-year-old girl, which, depending on where and when it happened, could legally be considered statutory in multiple states. Now, the question isn't just, is he the dad? It's, what is he trying to hide? Even when Rymir filed motions with the Supreme Court to get old records unsealed, he hit a wall. Not because he was wrong, but because the Supreme Court said it didn't have the power to step in. Every time they reached for justice, the system slammed another door in their faces. But then something shifted. Everything started to change. A federal judge finally stepped in and dropped a bomb. Jay-Z had to respond to the paternity suit. But here's the part most people missed. Under New Jersey law, if Jay-Z doesn't respond, he's legally presumed to be the father. That ruling changed everything. Game over. No more ducking, no more legal gymnastics. Jay-Z now had just two options: take the DNA test or go down in legal history as the dad. And then, boom, things got real. Right after that court order dropped on July 18th, 2023, everything took a dark turn. The moment the court stopped shielding Jay-Z, Rymir's life suddenly got dangerous. In September 2023, just weeks after the ruling, Rymir says he got shot at, right in his own driveway. He wasn't alone either. There were other people around. The parking lot was full, but somehow only his car got hit. That's not random, that's targeted. Lily, who's been with him through this entire mess, confirmed the whole thing during their interview on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. She said it straight. It felt like retaliation for taking the story public. A warning shot, loud and clear. This wasn't the first time they felt like they were being hunted. Lily says she and Rymir had been stalked, followed, and hit with threats for years while trying to get this case to move forward. And the closer they got to putting Jay-Z in a position where he had to take that DNA test, the heavier the pressure got. The intimidation, nonstop. But then things got even messier because according to Lily, they believe Beyonce herself got involved. Yep, you heard that right. It's like she was the one pulling the strings from behind the scenes. They claim Beyonce didn't want Rymir silenced because she thought he was lying, but because she allegedly feared what the truth could do to the perfect image of their billion-dollar empire. The rumor is she wanted the whole situation buried before the media got wind of it. And get this, when Jay-Z's team briefly floated the idea of signing Rymir to Roc Nation, Lily says Beyonce shut it all the way down. That offer, gone overnight. And let's not act like the music didn't throw shade either. Jay-Z dropped that now infamous line. Heard about us singing Billie Jean in his prime for the 1,000th time? The kid ain't mine. Online they call me dad kiddingly. Like, wow. That bar hit different when you know what's going on behind the curtain. You're not supposed to take this dad thing literally. That's too famous. That line, that wasn't just some throwaway bar. It was aimed straight at Rymir. Jay-Z kept it slick, saying things like, I'm getting sued, I show up to court without a suit, and your every move is on the news, ain't it? Ish has its perks too, ain't it? But let's be real, that wasn't just rap talk. That was a direct shot at a young man who'd been begging for a DNA test for over 10 years. So what did Rymir do? He clapped back with a track of his own. And he didn't hold back, spitting lines like, ninjas washed up still doing tracks like 55, where the F you at? Need to go back to your old days, grown man in his old ways. He made it clear. This wasn't about dissing Jay-Z just to get attention. It was about reclaiming his voice. If Jay-Z was gonna downplay him in $1 billion studio, Rymir had every right to respond with his own mic. By this point, things got serious. Lily said they started documenting everything. Timestamps, damaged photos, names, license plates, drive-by incidents, you name it. They weren't playing around anymore. They sat down with Tasha K, spoke to The Sun, went on Hip Hop Uncensored, because if something happened to them, they wanted the story to survive, even if they didn't. At this stage, Rymir wasn't just fighting for DNA results. He was battling a legal system that seemed more focused on shielding Jay-Z's brand than delivering any real justice. This wasn't just about family. It had turned into a war against silence, power, and control. The deeper you dig into the receipts, the louder the truth screams. This was never a fair fight. Let's start with this. 6 different judges handled this case over the years, and somehow none of them ever made Jay-Z take a paternity test. Not one. And in 2023, Rymir and Lily had finally had enough. They filed a new lawsuit, but this time it wasn't aimed at Jay-Z. This time they were coming for the system. They accused the New Jersey courts of straight-up fraud, obstruction, and violating Rymir's civil rights. According to them, the judges weren't just ignoring the truth, they were allegedly conspiring to protect Jay-Z. Rymir even laid it all out in a video, putting the spotlight right on the ones who were supposed to bring justice. But it gets worse. When Rymir tried to have the records from those early hearings unsealed, the Supreme Court shut him down. Not because he was wrong, but because they said they didn't have jurisdiction. Think about that. They weren't denying the facts, they were just refusing to deal with it. And under New Jersey law, if someone refuses to take a paternity test and there's enough supporting evidence, the court can legally presume that person is the father. So by law, Jay-Z could have already been declared Rymir's dad, but the court didn't enforce it. And now, Rymir spent 14 years battling in court, dropping thousands on legal fees, and carrying emotional scars that never healed. All this just to get one answer. It's becoming crystal clear that this case wasn't just ignored. It was sabotaged on purpose, all to protect Jay-Z's legacy and dodge a public disaster. Let's be real. If this ever hits trial and Jay-Z's name gets dragged into court with accusations that he fathered a child with a minor back in the day, especially in this post-R. Kelly era, this won't just be a paternity issue. It'll be a PR nightmare. Headlines, backlash, investigations, it'll all come crashing down. That's why this thing has been kept under wraps for nearly 2 decades. Sealed documents, threats, switched up addresses, no shows in court, the whole playbook. But now the clock is ticking, the judge has spoken, and Jay-Z has until July 18th to respond. If he doesn't, he's legally presumed to be Rymir's father. No more hiding, no more running. But here's where it gets even wilder. Word on the street is, Rymir might not be the only one. Behind the scenes, there's talk of a secret daughter, someone allegedly older than Rymir, supposedly born from another early 90s fling, just like Wanda. The difference, she never went public, and why not? Insiders say it's because Jay-Z allegedly paid her to keep quiet. So now the question is, how many more stories are buried under this empire? And how long before the rest come to light? And get this, According to one creator, Wendy Williams was one of the first to call Jay-Z out. That changes the game completely. Why? Because it shows a pattern. Deny the child, but allegedly fund the silence. If Jay-Z was willing to quietly support a daughter behind the scenes, why not Rymir? Why go to war against this one kid? The answer might be in two chilling details. Wanda was underage and Rymir spoke up. And now it might be way too late to cover it all up. Rymir's made it clear he's not chasing money. He said it over and over again. This was never about cash, but Lily, her lawsuit is taking things way further. They're done playing nice. They're not just asking for a DNA test anymore. They want punitive damages, full unsealing of every hidden court file, an official jury trial, and even a criminal investigation into the alleged collusion in court. This is no longer just a civil case. It's turning into a ticking time bomb, one that could spark more lawsuits, more exposure, and maybe, just maybe, more secret children stepping out of the shadows. And if Beyonce really was involved in keeping this buried, then we're not just talking messy. We're talking brand disaster. This isn't just drama. This hits the heart of the Carter empire. Because let's be real, Jay-Z and Beyonce are media-trained masters. They've danced through scandals before and came out untouched. But this one just won't die. Because it's not gossip anymore. It's real names, real documents, and real court orders. Right now, Rymir's stuck in limbo. He's still fighting, and he's made it clear he'll keep going for the rest of his life if he has to. But now, the choice isn't his. Jay-Z's got two options: take that test or let that court document officially name him as Rymir's father forever. And if you thought Rymir was the only one, buckle up. Because word is, Jay-Z's team allegedly bought a house for a secret daughter in Connecticut. She never filed a case, she never went public, and from what insiders say, she's never had to work a day in her life. You've seen the war waged by the one who spoke up. Now meet the one who stayed silent for a price.